No,
Don't
I'm
speak
about
to
to
me
get
yet.
riled up. No, I'm telling Ethan.
And it's completely inexcusable for the United
I'm all
States. I
about
think
dynasties. I want to see them achieve what no other team's done before.
I still think this team can find some magic and make a run.
Hello and welcome back to the Analytics Sports Pod. I'm Emilisov here with Ethan Love, Brendan O'Donnell, Spencer Grant, and this is brought to you by Sportscaster Media, the best platform, the best app for young and rising sportscasters like us. We have a lot going on in the sports world right now. March Madness, we're right in the middle of it. NBA is heating up, but most importantly, and what we're going to go with this in this episode is MLB opening day. It is finally baseball season again. When the grass starts to get greener and it's beautiful outside, that means it's time to go out to the ballpark, grab a hot dog, and watch some baseball. We just had a crazy tournament, one that happens every 3 years in the baseball world, and that is the World Baseball Classic. Shout out to Venezuela. They beat the USA and absolutely ripped the Americans' hearts out. But overall, this was a very exciting tournament. And guys, I'm gonna let y'all take it away. What were our thoughts about the competition in this international display of baseball talent?
Yeah, I think right away you have to just tip your cap to Venezuela. They had a very hard road to get to where they were. They beat Japan. They ended up beating USA in the final. And it's completely inexcusable for the United States. I think Mark DeRosa
Yeah,
had to go after his second time losing in the final in the World Baseball Classic. I know that he was told by the Padres to not use Mason Miller unless it was a save situation. But come on, it's 2-2
horrible.
in the ninth.
Mhm.
I don't care. The Padres can be as mad at me as they want. I'm putting Mason Miller in there. You put Garrett Whitlock in, and you saw what happened. They lost the
Yeah,
game. You got to tip your cap to Venezuela, but I mean, Aaron Judge, what a complete disaster. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. The big one came after the Bryce Harper home run. You're in a
yeah.
3-1 count, dude. You're in a 3-1 count, and you watch 2 fastballs right down the middle. I don't understand what you're doing there. Will Smith as well, swinging at hit by pitches. That about summed up the night for Team USA. We're swinging at hit by pitches. It's completely embarrassing. It's one thing last WBC to have a hard time against Otani, Yamamoto,
Right.
Roki Sasaki, and all those guys. But Eduardo Rodriguez carved you up for about 5 innings. That's just embarrassing. Bryce Harper, signature home run that will be completely forgotten. Team USA's got to go back to the drawing board here, and Mark DeRosa's got to go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about management, but also about Judge. It's kind of like the highlight of and the trait of his career has always been kind of coming up short in the clutch situation. Definitely horrible decision there with Mason Miller, cost Team USA in the ninth inning, but also not putting Gunnar Henderson in there after he was batting 400 and had the clutch home run against the Dominican Republic. Definitely disappointing. What I was hype about though at least was just how big of a playoff atmosphere the whole tournament felt. It was absolutely electric. Whether it was Italy and their deep run that came kind of out of nowhere, whether it was Mexico, despite some of the disappointing performances to close out, that team is put together with some MLB talent, just a lot of talent around the world. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. Spencer,
And that's what I
Brendan,
was
anything
thinking. I
else?
was
Yeah,
the same thing. I feel like this is the premier world championship for baseball now. There was no baseball in the Olympics in 2024. They just didn't feel like they had a good enough infrastructure in Paris. So we've now had 2 World Baseball Classics before there's been another Olympics games with baseball in it. And we won't see that again until LA in 2028. And from the 2023 Baseball Classic, World Baseball Classic to today, they doubled their viewership from that first tournament to
Yeah.
this one. I think this is the premier international baseball tournament that teams are looking forward to now over the Olympics. And this is the one that you're really going to hang your hat on that you want to win this. The same way the gold medal for FIFA teams for different countries, they don't care much about the Olympics. It's all about the World Cup. That's
yeah.
the main bracket that you want to win, the main tournament you want to win. I think that goes for the World Baseball Classic now moving forward. And we'll see how the 2028 Olympics looks for baseball if it has the same passion that it did in the games this week and these past 2 weeks.
Brendan, I'm really glad you brought up the viewership because I was going to throw some numbers at you guys as far as what this might mean for the MLB moving forward as they start another season. From the last WBC in 2023, there was over a 150% increase in viewership since the last one. And so people were itching to see some high leverage baseball. And when you look at the melting pot of talent that the MLB has from so many different nations coming together and obviously playing in the US, it's a pretty big deal for the league to go into a new season with this much momentum and viewership from beyond, you know, domestic households. You've
Yeah.
got, averaging almost a million views per game going back to the beginning of the tournament started to over almost 11 million viewers for the championship. I mean, it was clear that the draw was there, and I'm excited for what this means for viewership for the MLB going forward. Because I know baseball in our lifetime has, the money has always been there because the league has been so established for so long, but viewership has really been a rocky boat,
Yeah.
especially in the last like decade or so, despite some of the greatness that we've seen from certain teams.
Yeah. It
And the
feels like
players were all
the
really into it
interest.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
no
interest was
doubt.
That's a
there for the
big
players
part
and
too.
for the people. If the players don't buy into it, then it's just not as fun as an event. And the players bought
Yeah.
into it, especially with the other countries. And I think America this next time around might feel like they need to have more of a redeem team type of mentality where they actually care just as much as the other guys. Because
They got
Bryce
to put
Harper's
their
the only one
pitchers
that's
out
really been
there.
showing up. Yeah,
Yeah,
we can't
these
just
Yeah.
show up and
owners need to
expect to
stop
win
being
it.
greedy with their pitchers and realize that if it means that much to the players, you got to let them play.
Yeah, that's the thing though. These guys, these owners, these teams, they want to make sure their players are ready for opening day. I absolutely understand it, but you guys make great points. The players were in it. We saw a Rosarena and Cal Raleigh kind of get into it with the non-fist bump, the whole deal. But most importantly, what you guys are bringing up with the viewership is that momentum and that excitement is going to transition into the MLB season and into opening day, which honestly, this feels like the season where the most hype is going into some of these newly put together teams. A lot of stars moved around in the offseason, including the rich mainly getting richer, which we all know who we're talking about. But before we get to that team, I have to ask you guys, who is the most exciting team to watch here in this opening week and throughout the whole season, really?
Okay, I'm going to say a sentence that I don't think anyone has said in at least the last 10 years, but I'm excited to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh,
It
God.
all starts it all starts with Skeens. We know that.
Yeah.
We saw him in the World Baseball Classic. I mean, it is must-see TV. Just the
Mhm.
way that he can pinpoint his pitches wherever he wants and throwing consistent 100 miles per hour for innings at a time. I really hope the Pirates ramp him up this season because they kind of kept him on a short innings leash last year,
Mhm.
which I totally get, especially when you're non-competitive. But the Pirates have made a lot of moves this offseason. You have O'Neal Cruz there in the lineup. He's been a bit disappointing, but the talent is there. They traded for Brandon Lau from the Rays. They got Ryan O'Hearn and Marcell Ozuna to round out that middle of the order. So they're actually going to have some power bats this season. And the rotation with Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller at the top, that is a great 1-2. And then you add a prospect, Braxton Ashcraft, Texas guy in there. I really like what the Pirates can do, and I'm definitely going to be tuned into them week one because we haven't even talked about number one prospect Connor Griffin. He's 19 years old. We don't know if he's going to make the opening day roster, but whenever he does show up, it'll probably be early in the season. If he doesn't make the opening day roster, that lineup is going to instantly get a jolt from him. And I'm just excited to see what the Pirates can do. And definitely, I don't want to say a weaker division in the NL Central, but the Brewers and Reds are both small market teams that have kind of dominated the division last year. The Brewers are usually on top there. So it's definitely a winnable division because the
Yeah.
Brewers are cheap in their own way, just like the Pirates are. But I think what they've put together this offseason can actually win some games and maybe even get a wild card push.
Yeah, the Brewers were a weird team last year. None of the offensive statistics really jumped out at you, whether it was bat speed or whatever the case may be, but somehow they would just put together runs and put together wins. For the Pirates case, yeah, hopefully they finally give their pitching some help. They've been bottom 10 in batting average, home runs, runs scored for the last 3 years. Ever since Schemes got there, it's like these guys cannot score to save their lives. Win loss record, nobody even pays attention to it for Schemes because of that. For me, however, I'm going with a team that was almost at the top last year, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they bounce back. That is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays. We saw the
Mm.
historic run last year. They lose in seven to the Dodgers in the World Series. Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, playoffs that saw him bat almost 400, 8 home runs, historic run. Bo Bichette hits the 3-run home run in Game Seven. That should have been an iconic moment, and now he is a Met. How did it get to this point for the Toronto Blue Jays? I'm excited to see how they bounce back from losing Bichette. They were able to replace him, but most importantly, I think they're going to have the best starting pitching in the entire MLB. Dylan Cease there, Gaussman, Scherzer, Yasavage, who went absolutely bonkers in the postseason last year. This is a very deep team still, and I think they can really get back to top form despite being kind of a surprise team last year and losing their star in Bo Bichette, like I mentioned.
Yeah, Ethan, I got to go back to a little bit what you were saying, talking about how the Pittsburgh Pirates really just need to get Skeens some help. And I want to make a little bit of a homer take. I'm telling you, if the Texas Rangers figure out how to swing the bat, run. I know they've had a little bit of an overhaul this past season. They lost guys like Adolis Garcia and longtime contributor Marcus Simeon. They'll need real bounce back performances from guys like Wyatt Langford, Josh Jung, Evan Carter, as long as they stay healthy. These are guys that have been proven to be able to perform. They have young pitchers in Jack Leader and Kumar Rocker that they can put around their veteran pitching, which I still think they have two aces when healthy in Jacob deGrom and Uvalde. So I see this
Yeah.
all happening as a real possibility. They need to stay healthy. As frustrating as the past few years have been post World Series, I still think this team has more than enough talent to make some things happen. And a little bit of insight, last year, their bats managed to get hot at the worst possible time, which was right before the trade deadline. It caused them to trade for more fielders instead of picking up a batter or two. And then when the bats inevitably went cold, they had nothing else really to boost their offense to complement the really world-class pitching that we saw primarily from Evaldi. If you watched my hot take on Sportscaster, you would have seen I covered all this. But if they picked up a batter or two at the trade deadline, I absolutely believe this team would have made the postseason, and then who knows? So if they can stay healthy, I'm really excited to see what the 2026 Texas Rangers have in store.
Yeah, make sure you guys download Sportscaster, check out all of our hot takes. We talked about who the
Mhm.
best
Anything.
pitcher in baseball is. We kind of all
All
went
different
and
guys.
talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
some of those guys. We all went different guys.
All
Brendan will
valid
let you,
arguments.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Brendan will let you close off on who you are most excited about.
So, Spencer, it's just crazy to think that the Rangers were the last team to win a World Series before the Dodgers got back to backs.
Right? Yeah.
And they just haven't been nearly as competent as all. I kind of look back at it as a little bit of a Cinderella run. But who's going to beat the Dodgers right now? And we're going to touch on them later, but that is the most exciting team in baseball, playing Moneyball in a way that we've never really seen before. And they just keep adding more stars. Adding Kyle Tucker in the offseason this year, going into the new season, is just absolutely insane for a team that already won back to back championships. But I'm all about dynasties. I want to see them achieve what no other team's done before. Well, only a couple teams have done before, and that's win three in a row. Maybe they can get to four or five like the Yankees have. But only two teams have done three in a row or more, and that's the Yankees and the Athletics. And so, can they get this third one? This is going to be an exciting year to see if they can keep it all together, do it again, and not just be a back to back, but be cemented as a legacy best team in the 2020s, one of the best teams of all time.
Yeah, a three-peat is definitely rare in sports. Would be exciting to see. And I mean, the journey starts as early as opening day. So definitely exciting to see. But now, I did mention how this is a league where it feels like the rich got richer, the poor got poorer. But there are exceptions at times. And in sports, there is this beautiful, beautiful thing called going from last to first in your division. And there's a chance that there's a team out there who nobody is giving any credit about their offseason, any hope, any vision that they have within their franchise. I'm going to let you guys answer who is that team this year. Ethan, let's go with you first.
Man, This team really excites me, and I hate that they're in the Rangers division, who I'm a fan of. But the Oakland/Sacramento/Las Vegas Athletics
Wow.
might have the best lineup in Major League Baseball. Let me read this to you. And all the guys, this is the A's cycle that they go through. They get really good because they know how to scout, everything like that, and then they refuse to pay everyone, and then everyone leaves. Right now, they're in the part of the cycle where they're about to be really good because all of their guys are coming to the big leagues at the right time.
Okay.
By the way, last year, top two guys, Rookie of the Year candidates: Nick Kurtz, Shea Langoliers, Brent Rooker, Soderstrom 4, Jacob Wilson, Jeff McNeil. You got Lawrence Butler hitting 7th in that lineup. I will say this:
That's unreal.
Their rotation is a little cooked. It's a little cooked. We saw Luis Severino pitch well for the Dominican Republic in the WBC. We did, but man, playing in that ballpark too, the one in Sacramento, where it's a minor league ballpark, man, they're going to rake in there. And we saw it last year. They put up a ton of runs each game. It's only going to get better this year with their additions. And man, it's just if their pitching can just be semi-competent. And again, their pitching was probably a little inflated because of the ballpark. But man, I'm scared of the Athletics. The Angels are always going to be the Angels. The Astros are on the downturn of their dynasty.
That's true. Yeah.
Thank goodness.
The Rangers, we don't know. I think the Rangers wasted the year of health from DeGrom, and I'm very scared for what his health is going to bring this year after throwing 200 innings last year. And then the Mariners, Cal Raleigh he doesn't even know what a bat is in the WBC. So we don't know what the Mariners are going to be. They seem to be imploding team chemistry wise, but their pitching's great. But I would just watch out for the Athletics. They're going to put up a ton of runs each game. They're going to be a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah, we talked about Rosarena getting a little riled up with Kyle Raleigh there. Shout out to Nick Kurtz for having the greatest game I've ever seen last season against the Astros. I believe it was like 4 home runs.
4 home runs.
Absolutely insane.
He's nuts.
For me, yeah, he is. He really is. And you make a great point. And for me, I'm going with a similarly built team. I don't have full faith in them, but the Washington Nationals, I see guys that can hit the baseball. And yes, their pitching is very suspect. But whenever you have a CJ Abrams that multiple years in a row hits over 18 home runs, he can get the bat to the ball, as they say. James Wood last season, 31 home runs, 94 RBIs. And they have a brand new catcher from the Great Britain, Harry Ford, who was a top prospect, and a lot of people are liking him, especially in the World Baseball Classic. This is a team that out of nowhere could see some magic, while teams in their division like the Phillies and Mets are every year chokers. At what point the biggest addition for the Phillies, who had a great regular season but then choked in the playoffs, was Adolis Garcia, who is not even a quarter or a dime of what he was on that Rangers championship team. And at some point that team has to implode. And then the Mets, it's kind of like you said with the Mets are going to Met, right? Even after the huge Soto signing, they missed the playoffs. Now they have the huge Bo Bichette signing, and somehow, some way, they're going to be disappointing. If anybody's going to do it last to first, it would be the Washington Nationals. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But let's just wait and see what happens.
For my team, it was a team that was hot, and nobody expected them to be as bad as they were. The tough part is winning the division they're in, and that is the Baltimore Orioles, who just could not put together a competent run last season. It was a season from hell. Injuries, you fire your manager in the middle of the season, you have some of the worst pitching. With all the hot stars that they have, they've got Gunnar Henderson, they've got Jackson Holliday, they've got a lot of youth that they can start bringing up to get better and better. And they had 2 great seasons with that youth. You just think it's going to keep going on the up. 91 wins, 101 wins, and then they dropped down to 75 this past season.
Yeah.
Unexpected. I think they can climb back to the top where they won the division in 2023. But like I said, the tough part is, can you be better than the Blue Jays or the Yankees, or Boston and Tampa are even competitive season in, season out? I don't know, but they do have the talent to get there. They signed Pete Alonso in the offseason. They're getting a lot of their players back. They tied the MLB record last year for most players on their active roster, and that was 70 different lineups throughout the year, which is absolutely insane. You've got to have a healthier lineup. I think their pitching's not going to be one of the top 5 worst in the league, and their stars are going to play up to stardom level like they were in 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, Pete Alonso, great signing, but dude, that division is the division of hell, kind of how you talked about. I thought about the Orioles too, but man, that division is tough. Spencer, finish it out for us, man.
I was going to trash on the Nationals a little bit, but you bring up some valid points. Here's the thing. We know the bottom of the barrel of the MLB, those poor Colorado Rockies. I don't think it's going to take divine intervention for something to turn that team around, so I'm not even going to go there. But I will look at a team.
I was like, you're just trying to get sponsored.
Yeah,
I will look at a team. I will look at a team like the Chicago White Sox, for example, to have a better chance to turn things around. Obviously, they were historically bad. The Colorado Rockies of 2024, if you will. And I think that they've made some interesting offseason acquisitions, but it's still going to take a few miracles for them to get back into playoff contention, especially sharing a division with Cleveland and Detroit, who Detroit was really looking like the team to beat in the AL until they kind of just had an implosion. Like, I guess that's what teams in the AL do. But I look at guys like Munetaka, Murakami, and Luis Robert Jr., and they're expected to lift up a young core that's continuing to develop. And although the idea is fascinating, it's going to take a lot of things to go their way. But I'm a small fan of the Chicago market sports. We've seen the Bears turn it around after some really disappointing years. Sorry, Justin Fields. I think the White Sox are up next. Bulls, I don't know what to make of them.
Yeah, we'll stay away from those other teams because I don't know what the Bulls are doing. We'll actually now, because we can't sit here and just talk about the White Sox and the Nationals and
definitely not the Rockies.
Not the Rockies, right?
Not the Rockies.
Or even the Athletics.
The Rockies are just mountains, bro.
Yeah.
The Athletics they're gonna win at least 80 games this year. You can put my word on that.
Listen, if they are one of the teams that we are putting in this last segment that is at the top trying to compete with who is going to stop this Dodgers three-peat, I will give you a lot of money, Ethan. But for now, we're going to be realistic and we're going to ask, hey, who can actually stop this thing, man? Because baseball will be broken if the Dodgers can just buy their way to a three-peat. Guys, who will be the saving grace of this beautiful sport outside of Brendan because he wants to see baseball be broken? Guys, tell me, please.
You know what, Spencer, I'm glad that you mentioned the White Sox. I'm not going to pick them. Let's get
okay.
I'm going to go with the Red Sox.
Oh, okay.
I really like what they've done this offseason. The trade for Sonny Gray. Yes, he's old, but he makes a lot of sense, and he's going to bring a lot of veteran presence to that rotation. He's going to help Brian Bayo. And then the signing of Ranger Suarez, too, is incredible to go as your number 2 next to Garrett Crochet. This is the best rotation that the Boston Red Sox have had in quite some time. And we see the potential in the lineup. They have Jarren Duran. Roman Anthony lit up the WBC. They're in good hands there, and they're young. So I'm just excited, too. With a general manager and a front office led by Dave Dombrowski, they are going to be extremely, extremely aggressive at the trade deadline if they're able to put together some wins. So I'm very excited to see what the Red Sox can do. The Yankees, I just don't think they're built very well. There are a lot of home run or bust guys in that lineup. They don't play good defense. If you watch a Yankees game, they don't play baseball well. They kind of just hit home runs and win games. And I know we've seen in recent years that doesn't get you very far. I mean, they did go to the World
Aaron Judge, you know.
Yeah, that is well. We're going to go back to Aaron Judge. But still, I really think that the Red Sox are going to take that division. The Blue Jays had a great year last year. Their rotation looks good, but they did lose some bats. Boston seems to kind of make a run every few years, and I think it's their time to go and make one. And they have beaten the Dodgers before. It was a little bit ago, but they did beat the Dodgers in the World Series. So I got the Red Sox taken down.
Okay.
My big thing with the Dodgers, real quick. Are you saying
no? I'm about to get riled up. No, I'm telling Ethan, don't speak about my beloved Blue Jays because I'm gonna stick in the same division. No, and that's the thing. I want to stick with that same division, and the hype with the Blue Jays because you say they lose some bats. Yes, I do understand that. But this Blue Jays team is absolutely reloaded this year. Yes, they lose the star, Bo Bichette, but he was out for the majority of that playoff run. He had the knee injury that kept him out for a while. And what was the key to that run? It was Vladi playing at the level he did, which he might be the AL MVP. Just y'all wait. But also what the bottom of this lineup brought to this team. During the run, the 7 spot had almost 1,000 OPS. The 8 spot was batting 310, and then Jimenez, who is in the 9 spot, batted 400 and had a 1,235 OPS with runners in scoring position. That theme of the rest of the lineup is going to continue. Now, where they really got a whole lot stronger, I talked about it a little bit earlier, was the pitching not only the rotation, but also the bullpen. Signing Dylan Cease and pairing him with Gaussman and Scherzer and Yasavage. We talked about that. But now also Tyler Rogers coming in as a reliever. Now you have Mason Flaherty, Tommy Nance, and Jeff Hoffman as your closer. This is a very, very well put together team. And when you have a guy like Alejandro Kirk, who literally looks like a circle, but he will hit a home run on you, I have faith that they are going to make the run, and that's going to be the team that dismantles the Dodgers in a rematch from the heartbreak last year. Now, we'll take it to Brendan because I know I accidentally shushed him. And was not shushing
Oh,
him.
you're good.
I was getting at Ethan because don't speak on my beloved Blue Jays. We can make a run. Let's do it.
So to me, this feels a lot like I want to make a comparison here. Golden State in the 2010s, when they were already a very competent team that won a championship, and then you add a Kevin Durant. Now, might not be a Kevin Durant level signing, but you were already a star-studded team. I think they can just kind of coast through the regular season. And I think it's what happened in the last playoff as well. I mean, they won in the wild card round 2-0, and then 3-1 against the Phillies, and then 4-0 on the Brewers. And you get to the Blue Jays, and you think you're probably going to coast through them too, and they almost pulled off the upset. But I look back and I remember Golden State just not taking the regular season serious because they felt like as long as they made it in with Kevin Durant on that team, they were going to win it all. And I kind of see a similar thing that could happen with the Dodgers this year where they're not going to overplay any players. They're going to just try to get their wins where they can take them. They don't even care about getting a bye. They can play in the wild card round. But when it comes to the actual playoffs, they turn it on. I mean, we saw Yamamoto play back-to-back nights in the World Series. They will play whoever needs to play when it matters most. I think this team is just going to coast through the regular season, not break any records, nothing then, but turn it up in the playoffs when it really matters.
Ethan, going back to what you said, I'm just going to let that simmer for a bit because as much as I can see that being the case, they kind of remind me of those first two, the start of what could have been the three-peat, those Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowls, where I swear they looked so suspicious throughout the regular season sometimes, and then the playoffs kicked in. Like, is Travis Kelce washed? Is Andy Reid's system cooked? No. And then as soon as they got to the playoffs, they just started steamrolling teams, just an absolute wagon. So I'm just going to leave that there. I don't want to believe that that's going to be the case, but it would not surprise me if it is. But Ethan, going back to your point that I really liked about how the Yankees, they hit a bunch of home runs, they win games, but from a fundamental standpoint, let's go back to the fundamentals. They just don't play baseball very well. Everybody got paid. Everybody's got a huge ego and head, and they think, oh, everybody's just going to roll over and die just because we're the New York Yankees. And then they always fall flat, albeit they did make it to the World Series. They didn't win. Doesn't matter. I like to look at a team, and it pains me to say this as a certified hater of Philadelphia sports, but the Philadelphia Phillies, they are a team that looked like they would, if you just looked at their record, they looked like maybe they were coasting through the regular season last year. They play really good, disciplined baseball. They have a great mix of young talent with veteran leadership, the big names we all know. And I look at some of their left-handed pitchers, for example, that can be really scary to guys like Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani. The team, I think, is due for a bounce back. I don't think they choked against the Dodgers. They kind of just ran into a team that wasn't going to lose. Shout out to the Blue Jays for really making us think for a second. But all signs point to this team continuing to be a disciplined juggernaut on defense, and their batting continuing to be the best in the NL. You got guys like Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, of course, Bryce Harper, who I said isn't getting any younger. So we've seen the Phillies make the dance several times in the last few years. They haven't been able to get it done. The majority of their core, they are still in that window where they feel like now or never. So I think they're going to run it back with one thing on their mind. I think they're going to coast through the regular season with just enough to make the playoffs. They might win the division, they might not. It won't matter. I think they got a big circle on the LA Dodgers, and that is their sole motivation to get back there and get their revenge this coming season. They got the talent to do it. Will everybody stay healthy? Will the stars align? That remains to be seen. Or will the Dodgers payroll reign supreme? I don't know. But this would probably be the only instance where I'm pulling for Philadelphia, man. Come on now. Be known for something other than your sandwiches.
That's
We'll
fair
see the
enough.
rule
And
changes coming if they win again after this year, probably.
yeah,
Oh, man.
as long as it's not the Philadelphia Eagles winning, we'll take it.
Or the
We saw the
76ers.
clutch gene.
Get that boy Embiid
They're
out
all
of here.
right. Nah, they're all right. Uh,
Boy,
Here's the thing.
retired.
We saw the clutch gene from Harper, like you mentioned. We'll see if strikeout Schwarber can get it together. We'll see about that. That's another guy that just likes to hit the long ball. But at the end of the day, it is baseball. Baseball season. Who hates on baseball season? Absolutely nobody under the right mind. So we are here. We're going to enjoy this thing. We saw a tremendous World Baseball Classic. It's going to be a tremendous opening day and also baseball season. An absolutely beautiful thing. And that's where we're gonna leave. We're gonna leave it at. We'll let all the action do all the talking and all the taking over. And in October, we'll have to revisit this episode right here to see who was right and who was wrong. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Millsop with Ethan Love, Brendan O'Donnell, Spencer Grant. This is the Analytics Sports Pod, and thank you guys for watching. Shout out to Sportscaster. Appreciate y'all.